This is a review for chapter 217. My name is Kor, and this is my co-host Dab. So, Dab, what did you think of the chapter?
I was thoroughly excited going into this chapter. Gotten a lot of stuff going on in this arc, and this is a great section to fill us in from one arc as we get ready to move into another, because it's giving us a lot of things that we can build off of and expect to see in the coming arc. This one, of course, started off with Deku trying to figure out how to both activate it and also control it, so that way he doesn't accidentally activate and rampage through the streets with Corks, especially with Black Whip, as we saw in the fights. Try to put him in a situation where it activates with a near-death situation, what he's doing at the training with Bakugo. That, of course, isn't what had caused the Cork to manifest when he had fought with Mano Mo and Shinzo. It was a mixture of both wanting to capture, and from what we saw in the chapters was, of course, Mano Mo was running his mouth and it angered Deku. A little surprising, though, in this chapter seemed to be some information from the previous user that seemed to have kind of been left out, is they didn't really mention with the previous One For All user. Also with that, it's surprising to see Bakugo is actually helping him. Normally we wouldn't have seen that, but of course that goes back to the chapter where they actually started heading into an actual competitive friendship rather than the style of friendship that they had previously, if that's what you want to call their previous relationship. But it was good to see Bakugo grow and want to continue working with Deku and getting him moved into that direction.
Yeah, seeing Bakugo like that with Deku was great. I think he, at a competitive standpoint, he's excited. He wants to see Deku at his best, so when he defeats him in in a battle, he could feel better about himself and for the future of being the number one hero, because that's what he wants to be. He wants to be the number one hero. He wants to surpass All Might, and with that, is the person standing in his way the most is Deku, especially learning about this new power.
And then, of course, as we had predicted, Deku, of course, had his sit down with All Might, and just like we'd also predicted, Bakugo would be included in that since he is now part of that secret. Big takeaway from that is Bakugo did allude to the fact that this is very similar to All For One's Cork. The fact that he's gathering corks in this situation, though, it isn't so much as I'm taking it from you, it is more that I'm grabbing your hand and linking it kind of that way. So it's very different on how it's gathering corks, but it is still gathering corks. And once again, he also mentions that it was created by One For All, which we'll go a lot deeper into that with our theory video. But the fact that he created it still alludes back to the fact, did he know the outcome would be giving his brother a cork that would be passed on intentionally to continue gathering corks? The other thing that we took away from that talk with All Might was the fact that All Might once again didn't say what Nana's cork was, and I think that's very important, the fact that All Might did not take that opportunity to tell Deku what the previous corks were from Nana. I think that's very important. I think we'll learn that later on down the line. But what we did take away is we can pretty much assume the sixth user, going by the shadows that we saw and all that, ruling out the two that we couldn't see. It's looking like the one that is with the black hair, kind of in a like a trench coat or overcoat, is probably the sixth user.
Yeah, I think we're all dying to see what Nana's quirk was, and the backstory of more on her and her quirk, how it works.
Exactly. Like I said, we'll go more into it in our theory video on what my beliefs are there on that. But now, since he's believed that he couldn't use it, he's kind of put it in a dormant state and he's not quite sure how to reactivate it. He compares it to kind of a lock and key. I think it just comes down to him and his desire to want to be able to use it. He reacted very scared of it at first, and then kind of accepted it, and then just turned into I'm not ready for it yet. So it could be very much that the once again One For All reacting in a way that is thinking on its own. It's probably like, okay, you're probably right, Deku, you're not quite ready for this. Your body was barely able to handle it for the few seconds that you had it active.
This chapter is hinting at All For One. In a previous chapter, when he said, I'm excited, I could hear my brother's voice. So I think that's what I think this chapter was hinting at, and hopefully we get confirmation in the future of that. Did All For One have something to do with unlocking this?
And then, of course, once Deku gets done with the training, once again he's looking at his hand and thinking of for All For One and what exactly this could mean. So I'm sure we'll be seeing that in the coming arcs on what's going on there. Of course, once he returns back to the dorms for the night, we of course see that some of the classmates of Class B are having dinner and just kind of hanging out and chilling, which is curious to me because I would think that if some of them would have come, I would have thought all of them would have attended from Class B. So I'm surprised not all of them did. There, from what I can see in the photos, I was able to count maybe 5 or 6. So not just 1/3 of the class in that. And then of course the big thing there, does that mean that there could be two segments of Class B, one that kind of wants to be friendly with them and one that doesn't? And I've got some theories in regards to that. But the big part here is when Shoto approaches Deku in regards to dual quirks. One good thing that will come out of this, of course, is Shoto, of course, was kind of taken aback at first. He was, he was told by Deku to come at him with everything, that how, you can't hold back your quirks. So I think for him, he was a little hurt that he felt that Deku had hidden a quirk away from him, which wasn't the case. Deku didn't know this was going to happen, and he explains it to him that it just some sort of an extension off of his quirk, kind of getting away from the situation of having to fully explain to him, so that way there's not so many people having to know the secret, because the more people that know, the more people that are in danger technically if anything were to hit the fan, especially if All For One manages to escape. The other part of that is, of course, we see Shoto realizes that he needs to go to the next level. He feels like he really hasn't accomplished anything, so we of course see him texting Endeavor to learn about Flash Fire, which is an amazing thing to see him stepping forward with his fire. We of course see Endeavor, who's been wanting that to happen for quite some time, is very excited to see that. Of course, why he's got a villain at hand that he's taking care of quite easily. But the thing there is, how will Endeavor approach that situation now? Because in the past he was very rough on him, very cold, and very hard on him. But hopefully this means he'll come at him with a much warmer, fatherly approach, and we'll see better training. And I'm hoping that we'll learn more about some of Shoto's past as well, including his family relations, because we still need to learn about the eldest brother.
I really like in the past chapters and Endeavor's his character growth, to see Shoto reach out to him, because Shoto hasn't, even though we've seen Endeavor change a little after All Might had to retire, we haven't seen Shoto be able to engage his father differently. I want to see Shoto start to forgive his father, and for them to get closer, so that way Shoto can become stronger, because in the future they're going to need him. They're going to need the powerful three from Class A, and that's Bakugo, Deku, and Shoto, because the seeing the Nomos like this and how they're developing, the fact that in a theory video we're going to talk for why All For One let himself get in jail, but that's for the theory video. It's a very scary future, and we really need Shoto to step up and start learning from his father. So this is a good thing. This one thing I like very much about this chapter is all the character growth again.
Most definitely. And then of course, moving on, we of course have the teachers meeting, and there's a photo of Shinzo on the wall, so we can only assume it's them agreeing on what class he's going to be in. We still don't know if it's going to be Class A or Class B. The thing here that's interesting is, of course, Present Mike mentions Shinzo is exactly like Eraserhead. We of course see it with the tool, with the style of quirk that they have to use, and then with that, he also mentions a Shiragumo to Eraserhead in regards to that, which is surprising, because we don't know if this is a previous sidekick, a previous partner, maybe a student that he had been training. And we, of course, he quickly kind of brushes Present Mike off, that he, to keep it short or whatever. And you can kind of tell that he doesn't really like the subject being brought up. But that will be intriguing to see what exactly that is.
Yeah, I think that's very intriguing. Maybe that's why Eraserhead chose to train some of the other guys, or why he became a teacher. For someone like Eraserhead, who said he was in the underground type of hero. He's not that well known. He doesn't like the media aspect of it. It sounds like he's a true hero, but for him to become a teacher and want to help people, I want to see what triggered that. He seems like the person who would rather be underground and helping people in secret.
Exactly. It's really his personality. And then, of course, the final segment of this chapter was, of course, as we had learned at the end of last chapter, that they would be having Mano Mo copy Erie's quirk. The greatest part of that is we learn he can, in fact, copy power accumulation quirks. The thing he cannot copy is the power that has been accumulated. So he can copy her quirk, but it's not anywhere near the level she is. And you can tell that because of course he's got the horn on his head just like she does, and he also goes into a whole segment of explaining it, but it means he is able to copy one for all. He just can't copy the strength that's of course been built up over 8 previous users and now on the ninth. So that does mean he can copy it, but of course can't go to the level that Deku can because of that. The other thing that is here is he says hers is a power accumulation quirk, which is interesting because what is she acquiring power from? Because with the fight with Overhaul, Deku had her on his back, and we all kind of assumed and laughed that he was using her kind of like as a battery to keep himself going, but in fact she was getting stronger as he was going. So I'm wondering if it was the reverse, where he was basically charging her quirk with his own, that more damage causes it to become stronger. But we'll need more of an explanation from that, because they're really trying to train her, and so that way she doesn't have to live in fear that she's going to activate her quirk and just completely turn someone into an egg all over again, or put them back in an infantile state. We know that she basically ended up reversing her father's time to the point that he ceased to exist, which I'm sure wasn't her intention. And just like with Erie, she's very scared of that power. She doesn't want to harm anyone, and she keeps, saying that, she's troubling him. But Deku is real quick to step up and be like, "No, it's no trouble at all. You saved me." And of course, reinforcing the fact that she's got a power that's very kind and very gentle, that she can take away people's pain. So it really boosts her confidence, and by the end of it, she's agreed that basically hers is like Deku's, that they're very much the same, and they both agree that they will do their best and make that power their own.
With that, that's the end of our review. For myself, Core, I am going to give this chapter 8 out of 10. I really like character development. I like all the info we got. I like that they confirmed that Monoma, even though he could copy Deku's quirk, he couldn't use it properly. I like the explanation on that. And actually, I'm going to change from 8 to a 10 to a 9 for 10, because I like all the explanation that happened in this chapter. They did a lot. Usually setup chapters last like 2 or 3 chapters, and I think they put out a lot of information for this setup chapter. So that's why I give it 9 out of 10. What do you think, Deb?
I'd give it about an 8.5 to a 9, because with this chapter they not only gave us a lot of answers to a lot of things, but he also presented a lot of information that also filled in a lot of stuff that's coming with the All for One, and then with Erie, and then of course filling in all those gaps from kind of the chapters that we've been very curious on. So I'd say an 8.5 to a 9.
And thank you for watching. Expect our theory video soon.
And then make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe down at the bottom.